Sophie Cunningham goes in the post-game press conference and confirms what we've all known all along. This locker room is split, and she uses the term different islands going on in this locker room. It turns out that Christy Sides and all of those toilet paper mummy activities, all those scavenger hunt activities, the wiffle ball coming back from the Olympic break, it turned out that those stupid games actually played a big part, along with Erica Wheeler's veteran leadership, keeping this locker room, keeping this team together.
The Indiana Fever locker room isn't just losing games, it's splitting apart at the seams like a bad wig after yet another fourth quarter collapse. Veteran Sophie Cunningham walked into a press conference and finally said what everyone has been suspecting, confirming the quiet rumors that have haunted the team all season. She revealed the team was broken, not on the court, but from within. With a few carefully chosen words, she described the locker room as having different islands. And in that moment, she lit a match in a building already soaked in gasoline. This single comment ripped back the curtain on the silent war brewing around the WNBA's biggest star, Caitlin Clark, exposing a level of dysfunction that goes far beyond typical team drama. For weeks, fans and analysts have been reading between the lines, dissecting side eyes and analyzing cold shoulders, but this was different. This was confirmation from the inside, an admission that the front office has lost control and the team is in a state of turmoil.
What is going on with the Indiana Fever? Is tensions mounting? Did Sophie Cunningham just expose the truth that's going on with the Indiana Fever? Is there some turmoil brewing? Is there issues in the locker room?
And we talk about this. We are circled on everybody's schedule. Everyone, no one likes us, right? So everyone in our locker room, that's the only type of people that we have that we can lean on, and we got to be better in that area. We have got to stay disciplined. We have to stay focused. We need to get consistent, and we got to lean on each other. And I think that we've kind of wavered a little bit on that. We have our own islands, but as one of the leaders on the team, I got to do a better job of grouping people, right?
What Cunningham exposed was far more than a simple disagreement among players. Her islands comment points to a civil war, a locker room divided into bitter factions where chemistry has died and resentment has taken its place. It's a shocking contrast to the team building exercises and scavenger hunts Coach Christy Sides was praised for last season. It turns out those seemingly silly games, the toilet paper mummy activities and the wolf ball, played a massive part in holding the team together. Along with Erica Wheeler's veteran leadership, they were the glue. Now that glue has dissolved. The atmosphere is reportedly so toxic that players are freezing out their own superstar, choosing to brick a bad shot rather than pass the ball to the most phenomenal scorer in the building. This isn't just a slump, it's sabotage wrapped in fake sisterhood. The game plan seems to be to ignore the obvious superstar, force low percentage shots, and then hope Clark can somehow clean it all up in the post-game interviews with a gracious smile.
Sophie Cunningham, in the post-game interview, speaks on this team and the islands within the locker room. Everybody's on their own little island. We're going to get back to that real quick. Listen to what Stephanie White said in the offseason. One of her thousands of interviews that I called out. Stop doing interviews. I want some wins. One of her 1,000 million interviews during her press run in the offseason.
Really interesting comments from Sophie Cunningham. And yes, you kind of have to read between the lines a little bit, but I also think it is a pretty clear admission, just without detail, of what has been going on with the Indiana Fever this season. And it is not good at all. It makes it really, really difficult for teams to put together winning performances when you have all of this going on. And no, I'm not even talking about the distraction of Caitlin Clark and her injury and other things, although that plays a part as well. But she also does make a comment that I think is important in terms of who the Indiana Fever are as a team and how that makes things more difficult as well. So I want to take a listen.
At the center of this raging storm is Caitlin Clark, the league's golden goose, who is being treated like a target in her own house. She is the walking billboard of everything the WNBA claims it wants, yet she is being subjected to what feels like a professionally sanctioned hazing ritual. On the court, she's taking cheap shots and hard fouls from opponents who seem personally offended by her stardom, but the more sinister problem is the subtle, poisonous exile happening within her own team. The eye rolls, the missed passes, and the cold shoulders are not just in the fans' imagination, they are a visible, recurring pattern. Clark's once-in-a-generation court vision is being systematically wasted on teammates who would seemingly rather lose than see her succeed. She radiates a normal Midwestern charm that has captivated millions, yet she's stuck in a situation where the very institution benefiting from her is too cowardly to protect her.
I'm not sure Sophie meant for it to come out like that, but it's something I have suspected for a while, maybe about 4 weeks now. It's something that Jason Whitlock jumped face first, head first into the deep end the other day on, that the locker room with the Fever, and just to keep it real, I agree with him on this. I think there are some preferences in the locker room where these young ladies differ in how they handle or how their preferences in their personal lives, and the locker room is divided.
I've been watching that Sophie Cunningham thing on repeat, man. That clip where she grabbed the girl and threw her down, so foul. It's a hard basketball foul, probably over the top. Of course it is, but why would it not be given the circumstances? But once she did the clinch, man, MMA fans, UFC, grappling, Muay Thai, we all know. Once you seen that clinch, it was like, okay, she just ain't no regular fucking person. She knows something. She got some skills, and I guess she has like a black belt in Taekwondo or some shit like that, which is wild. And apparently she was the kicker on a high school football team.
The whispers have grown into roars, pointing fingers at specific veterans whose on-court body language tells a story of deep-seated resentment. Natasha Howard and Brianna Turner are frequently named in these rumors, with their actions fueling speculation that they lead a faction of players who resent Clark's instant fame. Howard has never even pretended to like Clark, carrying herself with a weird, hostile energy that screams, "Not on my watch." Turner isn't much different. Together, they've practically pioneered the movement of disliking Clark and then pretending her fans are the actual problem. It's a classic case of ego and jealousy. These are established players who likely feel their resumes are being upstaged by a rookie with a better jump shot and a fan base that dwarfs theirs. Their animosity isn't just competitive spirit, it's been described as pure, uncut hater juice, a bitterness so palpable you can almost taste it through the screen.
What's interesting is everybody hates them for multiple reasons, but the one I want to talk about when she said about circled on the schedule that I think is important, because it's easy to look from the outside and be like, well, that shouldn't matter. And it shouldn't matter, but it does. And what I mean is we're all human, and not everybody's athletes don't. They should. They get paid to. It's a job. It's a blessing.
About taking accountability. Now, I can't say that last play with the 5-point swing. I think more so of she shouldn't have been in front of Stevens, man. She is too big. She is too big. Yeah, I get it, box out, but it was better to have Boston in her spot. Now, I did hear Stephanie White take accountability on that one. She was like, yeah, it's probably on me. I should have switched them too, made sure we had the big right there, but you know, it just slipped her. But yeah, I think in that instance, it should have been Boston right there. It's big on her to take the accountability, but yeah, Boston should have been there. She could take fault in it too, because it's also like you have to recognize what's going on, right?
But this isn't just about passive aggression or hurt feelings. The hostility has turned dangerously physical, and the league has let it happen. Look no further than the infamous hip check from Chennedy Carter, a blatant off-the-ball assault that had nothing to do with basketball. Or consider the way Dana Bonner played, launching herself into collisions like it was her last day on Earth. That wasn't defense. It was a vendetta with sneakers on. A grown woman targeting a player with the kind of petty rage usually reserved for high school rivalries. These weren't just welcome to the league moments. They were calculated attacks meant to intimidate, injure, and send a message. All the while, Clark has taken taken these hits with the patience of a saint, but her graciousness has been misinterpreted as weakness, seemingly inviting even more aggression. She's been forced to survive, not just play, getting hacked by bitter vets, while being ignored by teammates who treat her like an intruder on a group project they never wanted her in. The on-court aggression reached a new level of discussion after an incident involving Sophie Cunningham herself. In a separate game, a clip went viral where she grabbed an opponent in a Muay Thai clinch before throwing her down. While it was a hard foul, what it really showed was a fighter's instinct. It was the move of someone who knows how to handle themselves. Someone with a reported black belt in Taekwondo. This context makes her words about the locker room even more powerful. She isn't just talking. She's someone who understands fighting, and she sees a fight brewing from within. It's no wonder her jersey sales suddenly skyrocketed past Clark's to become #1 in the league. Fans are desperate for someone, anyone, to stand up and defend the league's biggest star, and Sophie's actions, followed by her words, showed she was willing to do it.
So after last night, another collapse by the Indiana Fever and giving up a fourth quarter lead to lose the game, Sophie Cunningham had pretty interesting words in the post game, after the post game interview, and what she said pretty much spot on for what everybody has been thinking, or some of us have been thinking, is that there is some kind of issue in the locker room. And she put it plain and simple as we could get it. And maybe this could lead to what DeWanna Bonner left. Now, there could be some issues, there could be some players, and we already know that there's a gender out against the Indiana.
But I just think that it's impossible to think that's not a real possibility here. You know, and it should be noted, Stephanie White. All right, Stephanie White checks some boxes. And then you've got Sophie, and you got Caitlin, and you got Aaliyah, and you got Lexi. To my knowledge, probably Demarius Dantis, but I don't know. Michaela Timpson, I don't know. That don't check some boxes.
With all this chaos unfolding, the biggest question is, where is the front office? Where is the leadership? Coach Christy Sides appears to have completely lost control of her locker room, and the management is playing hide and seek with accountability. They are rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic while the franchise's crown jewel is being elbowed and exiled. They are happily cashing the checks from the Caitlin Clark effect, the sold-out arenas, the massive media deals, and the skyrocketing ratings, all while allowing their most valuable asset to be systematically undermined by internal politics. The failure is stunning. This isn't development, it's derangement. It's like handing Einstein a crayon and locking him in a toddler classroom. The league itself is complicit, using Clark's image for every marketing campaign while turning a blind eye to the targeted abuse she endures nightly. She isn't asking for favoritism, she's asking for fairness. And right now, she's getting none. This is where Caitlin Clark faces the biggest and most difficult choice of her young career. Her humility, her grace, and her team-first attitude have been admirable, but they have not fixed the problem. In fact, they may have made it worse. Every great superstar, from Magic Johnson to LeBron James, has reached a point where they had to stop being polite and start demanding change. This is Clark's Magic Johnson moment. The time for polite silence is over. The kindness has expired. The grace period has ended. It's time for her to leverage the immense power she holds. It's not about being a diva. It's about demanding the professional respect she has more than earned. She needs to force the conversation to make the front office and her jealous teammates deeply uncomfortable.
Now everybody knows who Sophie Cunningham is. Everybody wants a piece of Sophie Cunningham. Her jersey is the #1 selling jersey in the WNBA. Sold out. Now, why is that significant? I'll tell you. Because her jersey surpassed the all-time woman, Caitlin Clark. The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, got her jersey surpassed by Sophie Cunningham. Why? Because Sophie Cunningham stood up for Caitlin Clark. She did all of these Instagrams. She did all of this stuff. And next thing you know, it all didn't matter.
They've been losing leads. The close on games has been Very, very, very much of a struggle for them. And yeah, you have to face the ugly part about it. You have to figure out what you're going to do to actually fix that situation. You know what I'm saying? Fix that issue that y'all keep having. It's about want to. It's about grit. It's about, saying no. We're going to win this game and there's nothing you're going to do about it. And a part of that comes from just wanting to win, wanting to get that dub. So, yeah, I kind of understand Sophie. I do have grace for this team. But at the end of the day, man, you can think about probably 2-3 other teams who have just put their team together as well, and they are finding ways to win more games than the Indiana Fever.
The narrative needs to flip, and she's the only one who can flip it. The nice girl mask has to come off, not because she's not a nice person, but because her kindness is being exploited. What she needs now isn't more humility, it's spine. She needs to demand better from her team, from her coach, and from the league that is failing her. She needs to walk into that locker room with the energy of a CEO who just found out her company is on the verge of bankruptcy. No more forced smiles, no more pretending the offense is working, no more acting like being iced out of plays is just a coincidence. She must call it out, demand they fix it, or force them to flip the roster. Because right now, the system isn't just broken, it's rigged against her, and adapting to a rigged system is a losing game. It's time for the system to evolve around her. The situation has reached an explosive boiling point. Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent trapped in a profoundly dysfunctional system that seems hell-bent on sabotaging her. She is fighting a war on two fronts, from opponents who want to physically stop her, and from teammates who seem to want to mentally break her. The question is no longer if the locker room is divided, but whether Clark will be forced to detonate the entire thing just to build a team that actually wants to win. Will she continue to be the grown-up in a room full of petty politics, or will she finally stand up and declare that the show is over? Her career, and perhaps the future of the WNBA, may depend on her answer.